Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over this Cub Cadet push mower. Customer brought it in and said that it will not start and he wanted us to check the valves. I thought that was kind of strange. Most customers don't know anything about valves, let alone ask us to check them. But when I went to start it, I knew very quickly why he wanted us to check the valves after a little bit of research that he did, I'm sure. Let me show you exactly what that is. Interesting enough, have the intake off. Very interesting issue. When I first started it up, it actually ran perfect for about 30 seconds before it started doing that. Timing's off, valves are sticking, something's going on in the valve train or the timing that's causing this issue. Let's dive a little bit deeper and see what's going on. It's pretty cool, still smoking really good. Some sort of valve train issue, obviously, or timing issue. Hopefully, once we get the valve cover off, it'll tell us a little bit more about what's going on. Well, it's a good start. They're completely loose. I don't know. It's interesting that the customer asked us to check them. But even with them being completely loose, yeah, that's a strange one. Thought it was normally a 13, but apparently it's a 14 there. So first take all this off. You're going to tighten up that stud. Completely loose, of course. I was thinking that was a 13, but I think it might be a 12. It is a 12. All right. The valves and everything look fine. Surely this had to be something that the customer was messing with to begin with. We're going to need to adjust these valves. We'll pull this plug out. It does look like they have a torch spark plug in it, which is what comes with them, standard, I believe. I don't like the torch plugs. Plenty of people stand behind them and say they don't mind, but I don't think it's a very good plug. I've seen a lot of issues with them. I'm going to turn the engine over until we get to the compression stroke, which basically you wait until we come all the way out with the piston all the way to the very top. And then both the valves should be open. On this, it's kind of hard to tell because you're not going to have anything pushing against it. Well, on that bottom one, I guess you would. But if either one of the valves is open when the piston comes up, so I'll show you opposite compression stroke, or the power stroke as they like to call it. Right when it comes up, our valve is actually still open. That's still being pushed just a tiny bit. So that's opposite the compression stroke. Come back around again. Right there, top dead center. Nothing's being pushed. Can't put that out of the way. And you'll adjust both valves at this same spot. So we're going to tighten it up, and we're going to do 4 thousandths on the intake, which is the top valve. Some 45-degree ones would be real nice right now. Not sure where I put them. They're over there somewhere. Either way, I've got these. They'll work. You just want to kind of snug it up on there. You should be able to move in and out, but it should be kind of tight on there. Just about perfect. Grab our 13, or I'm sorry, our 14. We're going to hold that in place right where it's at. And we'll tighten up this 10mm nut on the front that keeps it there. So we basically want to hold this exactly where we have it, and then we're going to tighten up the 10mm to it. You don't want to move the 14, you want to keep it where it's at. And once you get in here, you always want to check and make sure that your push rods aren't bent and that nothing's stuck. Both of these, about perfect. Both of these valves should push in and spring back just fine, which they do. If there's any kind of catching at all, you're going to want to address that. Loosen this bottom one up. Since we were having these valve issues, I wouldn't check, I said timing or valve issues to begin with. If you get in here and everything's good and you're still having this kind of an issue, you'll check the flywheel key. So you have to pull the top housing and everything off, and you'll have to get to the flywheel up underneath. On these, they've got a metal key. I don't ever see them sheared, so that's likely not the issue. You likely have a stuck valve, so make sure you check those real good if you're seeing another similar issue to this. Get our 6 thousandths out here. And it's really 3 thousandths to 5 thousandths on the top, and it's 5 thousandths to 7 thousandths on the bottom. I like to just go right in the middle. Just tightening it up, trying to get that good spot in here. Just looking over to the to the side, I found my angled ones here. Got 6 thousandths. They're right there on my desk. Just makes it a little easier to come at an angle. If you got some of these, use those instead. It's about perfect right there. Again, I'm holding my 14 in place, and I'm going to tighten my 10. All right. Want those nice and tight, otherwise they will back out over time. Perfect, that's what you want. You want it to be kind of tight on there, but it should slide freely also. This gasket is in decent shape. It did look like it was maybe seeping a little before. I'm not too worried about it right now. I just want to make sure this thing's back into action. I'm not sure that I have another one sitting around, but again, it doesn't look really in bad shape. I think the customer probably had it off at some point, messing with this. When you're in the small engine repair business, most of the time people will not tell you the full story. You got to play lawnmower detective, see exactly what happened, especially when they start mentioning to check the valves. It's kind of just a good indication that somebody's been into something. And then you get into this like that, you'll see sometimes that the studs will back out or loosen up, but normally you're not going to see both intake and exhaust the same way like that. I'm not going to put that torch spark plug back in. I'm going to use a NGK. And we're going to use a BPR 5ES. Gap it to 30 thousandths. If that's what you want to do. See if this thing fires up. Doesn't seem to be running perfect, but fired right up and it does run. I could hear as we ran that the speed was real low. So we're going to adjust the engine speed. You do that by just taking off this 10 millimeter. Apparently that's a 3/8 I have. Thought it was a 10, my blue one there. And take off this cover. That just kind of guards the spring. So the tension on this spring is directly what's going to control your engine speed. Got to take this little piece here and we're going to bend it up just a hair. That's probably too much. Probably about right like that. Looks good. And that's just that little tab. Over time, it'll stress and stress and stress, and your engine speed will get lower. Figured everyone may just want to hear it run one more time. Well, this thing's running pretty good now. Still smoking a bit, but I'll put it outside, let it run for 20 minutes or so. That should all clear up. Make sure we don't have any more issues. It sounded like at first like we could have had a carburetor issue or something. Maybe it's been sitting for a while. Could need a carb clean, but sounding good after we adjusted that engine speed. Obviously, I'll get that guard and everything back on there, and recommend he get a guard as far as the side chute goes. Hopefully this helps somebody out. If you're having a interesting issue with your Cub Cadet, MTD, Troy-Bilt, Yard Machines, Yardman, Bolens, these Powermore engines are on just about anything anymore that MTD makes. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button though if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a great day.